Welcome back to the Ocean Flow Talk Show. Here, we go as we flow and flow as we go. Go as we flow and flow. I'm looking for my I was looking for my car mix, but okay. Oh, I don't know what. Blush on my lips. This is actually episode 15. I accidentally put the title for last episode as episode 15, which I still have to try to change that. I haven't did it because I really haven't thought about it. But I know that y'all want a poem. So I'm gonna start this week's episode off with a poem. The name of episode 15 is The Pivotal Point. Um, just because I believe this is a very pivotal point of my life right now, to where I'm having certain epiphanies and certain things just coming together to make more sense. Okay. So this is the poem that is one of my top favorites right now, and it goes, you've been abandoned just like I was. So I think, is that what love does? Run? But then I realized that you're never alone. And then I realized that you're never alone. I should have put it up. I'm gonna start this over, okay? Just don't even. I literally memorized this for a video and don't even know it now. You've been abandoned, just like I was. So I think, is that what love does? Run. But then you realize that you're never alone. Love is not words, it's what love shows. That's how love grows. When all your life you've been in survival mode, still it feels like a lonely road. Then God comes and shows you what love is. Such a beautiful bliss. Never fall too short of your kiss. It's my favorite fix. How do you feel? What I feel. Life is my favorite girl. God gave me the best deal to experience the real. How could I not choose to live? I love being a lover and giver. I'll never ever let mistreatment tarnish my character. Wisdom has been my greatest teacher. She made me a believer. And I actually haven't named that poem, and I memorized that poem, but I wasn't thinking right then. But you know, that's it. Um, Maybe we should call it Unconditional Love. I'm gonna stick with that name for now. So I have a few things I want to talk about. I wrote them in my notes. Let me make sure this is still on, because that one time I recorded and it was not on. Talk show topics. Let's see. All right. So I'm gonna talk about what I mean by light. Oh, okay. So last episode, I started talking about my life story, which I'll finish in this episode so that you just understand and get a gist of who I am, and the things that I've been through, like I said, and just the things that I've gotten through. And God has helped me through. Because without Him, definitely nothing would be possible, or that's who I find my strength in. Um, so I know last episode I talked about how if someone says there was a scripture about if Jesus saying that if someone says that the kingdom is here or there, they're lying, because the kingdom is within, right? And then after that, I talked about there was another part of the scripture that was like that the light above shines open to shine light below. And I said that I believe that the sky would open up and I must have been joking with myself. Now we know who God is. He is also a jokester himself, right? Um so I want to retract on that and say that I actually believe that what it really means is that the light above, so divine light, right? So I was watching if you haven't ever heard of 19 Keys, he is actually another awakened soul that I love watching his videos. He brings a lot of um other awakened individuals who are aligning with their higher selves or who already have onto his talk show, and they talk about certain things and they interview each other pretty much, and it's just like a talk back and forth thing. Well, anyways, I watched one last night because I've been pouring a lot of information into myself, um because right now, like I said, I am in a flow state, which is hard when you're used to being on the go all the time, right? But I'll get to that point because there was something that he said in that episode that was very important as well when it comes to the flow state. So, when every in that episode they talked about how every 26,000 years divine light comes back to the world to basically um how can I put this, basically many are called but few are chosen, in the gist of it, right? So divine light comes, and that's why you see a spiritual war going on right now, or just a lot of people speaking about God all of a sudden, right? um Especially the type of world we live in now. I just see, a lot of my fellow brothers and sisters wanting to get closer to God and getting baptized and these things like that. So we see it in the midst of us. Like, we see it happening. So that's we're in a shift, a divine light shift where God has called us to be a part of his kingdom, and that's why the kingdom is within. It's not something you can actually see. God is not something you can actually see. He is within you. I actually read Isaiah 41:10. No. Isaiah 41, but not verse 10. I think it's like verse 12 or 13, where Jesus says that ye are gods. And they get mad at him because they're like, how you a human and you claiming to be a god? You claiming to be God. Jesus said, didn't I just say that I was a God? That we are all gods? Ain't that what I said? I am a son of God. Um, they kept playing with my man Jesus. I don't like the Pharisees. They love playing with my man Jesus, questioning him and stuff. Make me sick. Jesus, they better be glad that Jesus was who he was, cause baby, don't play with it, don't play with it, don't play with it, don't play with it. All right, let me have been there with him. We would have been ride or die. Let me tell you, okay. So, anyways, so when this divine light comes into the world, right, which is happening right now, which is, the shift that I am experiencing, it's just a lot going on because you're in confusion. You're literally drawing away from sin. You're beginning to literally walk in Jesus's footsteps. Um, if you have the actual truth within you, right? So that's another scripture from First John 2:4-6, where it talks about, I have come to know God by experience. So it said if someone claims I have come to know God by experience, yet doesn't keep God's commands, he is a phony and the truth finds no place in him. For the love of God will be perfected within the one who obeys God's word. We can be sure that we've truly come to live in intimacy with God, not just by saying I am intimate with God, but by walking in the footsteps of Jesus. And I know last episode I also talked about being that good example because, right, I can't sit here and say I'm truth, or, I'm a child of God, or I'm God's beloved, but yet I don't do what Jesus does, right? That's contradicting and being hypocritical. So it's a lot of sacrifice that takes place of being divine light. So that's why I say many are called, but few are chosen, because many don't want to really put in the work. They don't want to put in the work, but they don't want to make the sacrifices, and they don't really want to be righteous, right? Because that means that you have to step away from everything in the world that's going on and to start growing in your spirit. Because we feed flesh with everything. I was thinking of an example to explain to you all. Let's consider going to the grocery store, right? So if we go to the grocery store and we're putting nothing but junk food and box dinners and juices and all of these things, that is a person who is feeding their flesh, because nothing in what you got is healthy for your mind, body, and soul, and all you're doing is ingesting your body with sugar, right? And you like, so clearly you don't like truth, you like stuff sugar coated, and that's what 19 said in the episode, which was so funny because, yeah. um so then we have someone who is feeding their spirit. They went to the grocery store and they put fruits and vegetables and water, and that that's how you tell the difference between someone that is feeding their spirit or someone is feeding their soul. That's one example, right? Or just the type of music, because your music tastes start to change. You start feeding your mom more, whether that's reading a book or researching a certain topic or diving deep into your Bible. All of those things. You start cleansing your energy and, making sure that you're vibrating on a high level of energy. So with that being said, the spiritual baths that I take with Epsom salt, or walking barefooted in the grass, because again, we we're nothing but a ball of energy, and everything around you is just energy, right? So um just those little things help you, which aren't little. Let me not say little. Them are big things. Those big things help you to align with your higher self, and your spirit, because the goal in life, right, is to do the work, because trauma is constantly passed down generation to generation, right? But the guy that he was actually interviewing is something that I believe that your spirit, if you don't do the work that you're supposed to do when you come to earth, when you die, your flesh dies, right? But your spirit is going to live on. And if you have to come back to earth to do that work, you're going to reincarnate, because this is just a vessel. This is just a vehicle that you were given. But you still have a soul. That's why it's so important. That's why when they say, breaking generational curses, that's a generational mindset. That's a generational lack of, you have the courage. So the whole goal is you have the courage to face the fears that the world has placed upon you, to speak out against the darkness. So that's why you allow your light to shine, right? And that's where light worker or star seed comes into play, because out of the darkness there must always come light. And so my job and my goal, and why I say that it's a fearful thing and a lot of people are scared to do that. Even having a conversation with my dad, he's like, because I believe my dad knows more than what he tells me. The more that I spend time with him, and I believe I've told y'all this before, when we talk spirituality. Well, one of the things he said, he was like, "Well, I don't really want to talk about it," and I found out that he had a fear of dreaming. Um, and it kind of put me in a place like, maybe this is why you drink so much too. Like, Um, because you don't typically dream in those states. When you're very strongly under the influence, you're like passed out cold. You don't really go into a REM sleep, right? So, um, he was telling me that I shouldn't want to dream and dreams are bad and those type of things. Well, I personally dream of a whole lot. And that's what comes with your awakening journey. I actually have very, very vivid dreams. And most of the time I remember all of them and I write all of them down. And I believe I have told y'all this. And I try to actually interpret them myself. Um, which I've had the pleasure of doing so. Gratefully, everything is going to come down to my journal. It's so good, even that in history, when we look back, that everything was written down, right? So it's so important that you have evidence. When I first did the whole manifestation thing, like I told you, I didn't necessarily have evidence. So me only speaking words to you, I understand that people need to see it to believe it. You know what I'm saying? So that is my spiel on light. So another thing is The Matrix. I finally started watching The Matrix. I haven't finished it. All right, we're about to go on a ride. I really wanted to wash my car. But I'm gonna go get me a smoothie first, so I'm in here longer. I pray that this video is recording. Anywho, because I've been saying a whole spill of things. So I'm put my seatbelt on. As far as the Matrix goes, there's something very important that's at the beginning of this movie, right? And at first, I didn't understand where the whole red pill, blue pill thing came from, but clearly it came from the Matrix. So, the red pill was to know truth, and the blue pill was to wake back up and stay inside of the computer system. Okay, so what you should understand is that our DNA has a code, right? Somebody could put our DNA into a computer and decode it, right? Everything in this world is based on numbers, and all goes down to numbers or mathematics. And hopefully this stands still for y'all. Anywho, so the dude decides to learn truth, but this is what he says. He says that I can show you truth, but you have to choose basically to believe it and to walk through the door. I can't force you to. And I've talked about that before. Like, I can give y'all and explain this to you about the world, and being able to see the world as it is, as it really is, because a lot of people may have watched that movie and thought it was just a movie made up, because your brain doesn't decipher. You are still asleep. You are not awake, right? So you probably, again, there's a lot of movies that you may just watch and it's just a movie to you. It's just entertainment. So now that I am awakened, nothing that I just watch or see is just, I don't see it as many people see it, right? I see it as a message. There's a hidden message in everything around you. Nothing is coincidental. Nothing happens just for no reason. Your life is divinely orchestrated, right? You are being divinely guided and protected if you have light in your life, or have chosen to actually grow a relationship with God. It just gets stronger. But you were given a certain guide, and see, I told y'all I was gonna rock like this. Y'all didn't think that I could rock like this. But anywho, so it goes deeper, and maybe we'll talk about that in the next episode, as far as your ancestors go and those type of things. Okay, so that's what I wanted to give that spiel on the Matrix. That the Matrix movie is literally the real thing. It literally explains to you what the world is. But until you take the veil off of your eye, or the veil drops for you, you're gonna see the world in rose-colored glasses. Okay, so I talked about that. Let's see. Let me say this though: be willing to know the truth. You don't want to stay in a place where you're asleep, the rest of your times, and a lot of people may watch this and think I sound, excuse me, crazy or, you know, weird. Uh, but we're all weird. And you should just stand in your difference, right? Be different. Because God made you different. And I know that God has a bigger purpose and plan for me that I just can't yet see. I feel it in my soul, in my spirit. I know that I'm destined for greatness, right? But I have to do the work in order to get there. I have to heal. And again, that's the hard part, healing the parts of you, the darkness parts of you. Um, but baby, I've been working my butt off to do it, because why not? I'm willing to make the sacrifices I need to make to have Jesus and God and that a part of my life. Like, why not? So the Holy Trinity, um, which is the Father, the Son, the Spirit, which is, remember I told you I got 777 tatted on me, right? Well, the Father is the mind, the Son is the body, and the Holy Spirit is the soul. And that's actually what that means. That you align your mind, body, and soul all together and they become one, right? That's what it means to also be awakened or to reach your higher self. All of them come together into one God body, right? And you really, really strongly tap into your godly power. Because the power within you is very strong, and I told y'all this episode, but you have to be willing. It's not something that's just going to be given to you. It's not handed to you. It's not easy. Um, and it comes with a lot of tears, but it comes with a lot of joy. You lose a lot of friends, you lose family. You are able to see people for who they are, no matter who they are, right? um and then God starts to bring you people who align with you, though. The more that you heal, the more that you grow, people that align with your purpose and your life and where he is trying to take you, those people will start to flow in. And the only thing you can do is be grateful for that, because you want God to reveal certain things to you, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of us pray that God reveals certain people, places, and things to us. But we've really never asked God to reveal what's within us that's to fix, right? So there was something important that they said in the episode about how when you actually accept the light and that light is within you, not only does that light begin to shine light on the darker parts of the inside of you, but your light begins to be a flashlight to everybody else. So when you go on this journey, you're going to have a lot of people jealous of you, envious of you, because they see your light. But not only do they see your light, you're shining a flashlight on all the wrong parts of them that they're not willing to accept for themselves, or they don't know they have those problems. So then that's when they think that you're the issue, um and you're wrong and they're right, um so you just, it's a lot that goes into this journey. But it has been the best journey of my life. Like, it has been the most amazing, life fulfilling. Like, it's so hard to even explain it in just one simple word or a multitude of words. Because God is just so freaking good. Like, for you not to want to experience this, there's just no way. You gotta really just be very stubborn and unwilling. You have an unwillingness to change, an unwillingness to heal, an unwillingness to have everlasting life, because you constantly want to choose death for yourself. If you choose not to see the light, be in the light, that means you're choosing death. There's no other way around it. You're choosing to stay in the darkness. And who wants to just be in the darkness all the time? I don't. I love opening my windows, letting the sun light shine in. I love it. I love it so much. I love being outside. It's been a little hot. Not even a little hot. It's been hot. But it's been nature, connecting with nature. Um, because everything is nature is within. Everything that is in nature is actually within us. Everything. All right, so I'm gonna finish my life story now. So I think I ended it with moving in with my grandparents, but I wanted to go back and touch on something. So when I moved in with my grandparents again, oh y'all, like that was a very depressing moment in time for me, because for one, I done left my mama house because of her abusive boyfriend. Now I'm moving with my dad, and not even a year passes by, and my life is shaken up again, and I'm in distraught, right? And now I'm having to start all over and go be with my grandparents. Now I love my grandparents to death. Especially we have been growing a lot in this season together. Um, oh, and I need to touch on that. So, but my grandparents were never really a part of my life. And definitely let my mom tell it that anytime she would try to get my grandma or my granddaddy to watch me or my brother, they would not. And I don't ever really recall going to my grandparents' house unless I was with my dad, right? I was never over there, but my cousins, on the other hand, were. Um, and during this time, I definitely did not want to live with them. I didn't understand what was going on with my life. And I was already attached to a teacher at the school that I had to leave. So my heart was broken at that point too. And when you're comfortable in something, you don't want to go be. It's hard for people to be uncomfortable when they're already comfortable in a position, but that's where you grow. So that is proof in the pudding right there. Anyways, fast forward. Me and my grandma did not get along whatsoever. She would just tear me down any chance she got. It was never a uplifting thing. So I spent most of my middle school and high school, unless I was hanging with friends or any school that I went to, I was always a teacher's pet. Ah. So, um, I had teachers that I would be close to. These teachers played a very pivotal, important, outstanding role in my life to as far as my growth goes. They took me on shopping sprees, they took me on vacations, their family became my family. Um, like these teachers loved me as if they gave me the love I wanted my grandparents to give me, right? I would always be in my room all the time if I wasn't hanging out, and I would just hear my granddaddy and my uncle always talking about me, speaking down on me, how I was lazy. It wasn't even that I was lazy. It's just I didn't want to be around them, and if I came out of my room, that means I had to be around them. And who wants to be around someone that has anything good to say about them? So I just did it. So I would find every excuse to leave the house. Every excuse. That's why I got involved in a lot of things at school. School was my escape I love school so much because it gave me the opportunity to not be at home. I could not stand being there, because I just didn't feel welcome. I didn't feel loved. Um, and then I would go, spend time with my nana or whatsoever. And we would go to my uncle's house a lot. So my uncle, I would definitely say played a role in raising me as well until he turned on me. He also turned on me, but I didn't really see him in the light that I should have seen him at that time, right? Because again, his house was just an escape. He allowed us to do whatever we wanted to do at his house. So who wouldn't want to go where all the rules can be broken, you know, especially as a child. But during that time, my brother tried to kill me. My brother used to try to kill me all the time. All the time. He would try to throw rocks at my head. He would try to stab me. He would try to beat me up. Um, all types of stuff. And at that point in my life, I was really hurt because I don't like hurting people. Like, I really do have a very good heart. And even then, I didn't want to hurt my brother, although he wanted to hurt me. I prayed so much during that time for God to change my brother's heart and for him to see me. I'm going to cry. To see me in a better light. But when you have somebody that's constantly feeding, when you have somebody that's constantly feeding your mind with negativity, you don't know what to believe. And at that time, my uncle would constantly just feed my brother's mind with like things like, well, look what your dad did for Ocean. He didn't do it for you. Or, look at these things. But at that same time, my brother didn't look at the fact that my grandma would do things for him and not for me. But not once did I ever have a jealous bone in my body. I could never be jealous of my own brother or envious of him. And at the time, that's what that was. My own brother was jealous of me. He was jealous of the attention that I got, even from the teachers. Okay, we bet. He was jealous of, um, by the way, I know I'm gonna get off topic. This right here is the best coconut water, and you can only get it from Publix, and it is $6 a bottle. So if you see this one day, Coco Joy, and you want to sponsor me, just bless your girl, okay? Please bless your girl. I'm already blessed, but I'd be highly blessed and favored if you sponsor me. Because $6 a bottle, you're crazy. I pay for it, but you're crazy. Um, so at that time, it was just a lot going on. I was in a relationship where I was just letting this guy just cheat on me. Just cheat on me and cheat on me. It's so funny now that I think about that. I done put myself in some weird stuff. That's why I said I think for a while I was addicted to pain. Like, I was addicted to hurting because that's all I knew. And I think a lot of people are addicted to pain. But I don't deserve pain. I deserve good things. I love myself enough to know that I'm worthy and valuable to have good things and to not always have to go through pain. Yeah, we're going to go through stuff, but to put yourself through stuff is different than when God takes you through stuff. That ain't the same. So, let's see what else. After that, my brother, okay, so my uncle ended up telling my dad. My dad was locked up. My dad ended up going to prison, but not for the reason why we moved out. He ended up going to prison for violating probation after the fact. And he was in prison for like 2.5 years. He literally got out like 3 or 4 months before I graduated high school. So he was able to see me graduate. However, while he was in prison, my uncle thought it was a great idea to tell him that I wasn't a virgin anymore. Now my dad looks at me as a queen on the throne, right? I cannot do flaws. I am super perfect in his eyes, and I do everything right. Now for a while I was that girl, and I didn't like to disappoint him. Even the first time I told him I had a boyfriend, this man boo hoo cried. And yes, you're gonna say, well, that's just a father thing. Okay, cool, I get it. Well, when my uncle told my daddy this, he called me while I was at work. Now, mind you, he's in prison. He called me while I was at work, and he called me all type of hoes. He told me I was just like these other hoes. And it really hurt my feelings, like, cause I'm like, dang, my own dad is like tearing me down as if I'm just this. And my dad did apologize, and I forgive him for it. Cause he was just hurt and speaking out of his own emotions. Which is cool. You know, I ain't tripping, cause I know who I am, right? And what also really peed me off was I called my grandma to come get me because my job at that point just swore somebody died the way I was crying. Ain't nobody died. My feelings was just hurt really bad. So my grandma came and picked me up, and why I should have called somebody else. Okay. I actually learned from that moment that anytime I got myself into something or I didn't want to, don't ask me no questions, I would call my nana. All I had to do was say one thing to her, and she would not ask me any more questions. She would just let me be. And no, my grandma, on the other hand, she comes and gets me, and she's like, I guess I need to go put you on birth control. How many niggas you done had sex with? Now, mind y'all, I was in a relationship all high school. What you mean? How, now you trying me like I'm a hoe? I ain't no hoe. I was like, I don't need to be on no birth control and this and that. Again, my grandma was just very, and even now she is very mean. She is very greedy. She even stole from me, when I was living with them. And then had the nerve to ask me if I needed my own money back. And again, I love you, grandma. I love you, but I'm praying for you. And me being around her has been trying, like, she's trying her best to change now that she kind of sees me in a different light. Because I used to think she was also jealous of me, which is so crazy. But it be your own family for real. So I wanted to say this. Now that I've also been on this journey, that's why it's so amazing to me that I've been on this journey, right? Um, the more that I change myself, everything around me changes. My family, y'all, my family is changing in ways I cannot explain to you. Like, just the way that they love each other, the way that my granddaddy is, like, it's so amazing. Even my dad is trying to change. Um, and change takes time, so it's not, but for anybody to take the steps towards change, kudos. I am proud of you. Cause change is hard. Like, it's not easy. Even my brother, the most stubbornest, hard headed, he act just like my daddy. So my own brother is changing. He's starting to eat healthy. So I'm being this good example for them to follow. And they are literally following. God couldn't have chosen a better sheep. Cause I'm going all the way. Like, whatever I gotta sacrifice, I'm with it. At this point, I'm with it. Because what? If you're gonna bless me in all of these ways, not only are you changing me, but you're changing my family and you're helping me grow. What do you mean? Of course. What else do you want? Literally, what else do you want? Um, so right now the things that I'm working on is learning to trust. Ooh, my trust issues are mm-mm. But I mean, you can see why I don't trust. I mean, I couldn't even trust my family. Not only that, Just every relationship that I've been in, I've been cheated on. So, there goes the trust there. I'm working on being critical and judgmental. I told y'all that in one of the episodes. I'm still working on that, but that has gotten so great. And I'm working on negative thinking, which is also getting great. The more that I affirm myself. So every day, meditating and positive affirmations um, have been excellent as far as positive thinking, as far and journaling as well. Those things have been helping me. Um, so I want to sum. So this is why this is a pivotal point. I am in another isolation stage where I am reflecting again. I'm self reflecting on everything that has happened up until now. Um, Learning who I am and fully stepping out and putting myself out there and being and becoming the person that I want to be, the purpose that I have on earth to fulfill. I'm going to fulfill it. No matter what it takes. And I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. I don't care. Oh, my dad was like, the men in the black suits gonna come knocking at your door. When you get to talking about stuff like that, come let them come knock. Okay, y'all can come knock. At right now, it's so many people speaking out about God and Jesus and light that you must you must gonna take us all, baby, because we is a powerhouse. Yeah, you play with it you want to. I told y'all supernatural protection versus physical protection can't compare. Can't don't play with you cannot play with the spiritual realm. That is not something you would want to play with. That's why it is you cannot play with God. Please don't ever think that you can play with God and just get away with it. Don't ever think you can do bad and get away with it. Because again, everything is gonna come around 360. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to episode 15, the pivotal point. And it's gonna all make sense in the end. Just keep watching. Um, I'm growing as I'm going to. Um, and just getting better, better. All we can do is get better each and every day. Just make it a goal and a priority that you're better than you were yesterday. Remember that you are love, you are light, you are truth, and you are a child of God. So I love you. Have a blessed day, night, morning, evening, whenever you watch this video. Peace.